John had everything a young man could hope for: ambition, dreams, and a fresh university degree. But life had other plans. Coming from a humble family, John's journey wasn't an easy one. His father passed away 3 years prior, leaving a heavy debt on the family's shoulders. John's mother, a dedicated nurse, worked tirelessly to support him and his 2 younger siblings. But even her efforts could only stretch so far. Graduation day was supposed to be a time for celebration. John's mother attended proudly, and they felt hopeful, as if this milestone would open doors to a brighter future. But fate took a cruel twist. Right after John's graduation ceremony, his mother received a phone call. She had been laid off due to budget cuts at the hospital. The news hit her hard, causing her health to spiral as she fell into depression. John saw the toll it took on her, and as the eldest, he felt it was his duty to step up and support the family. John threw himself into the job hunt, knocking on every possible door with his resume in hand. Unfortunately, he was met with rejection after rejection. Employers wanted experience, something John didn't have yet. Others even hinted at bribes to secure positions, but he didn't have any money to spare. Desperate, he sent his CV anywhere he could think of, hoping something, somewhere, would work out. When no white-collar job materialized, John knew he had to pivot. With the little savings he had, he decided to start selling second-hand clothes. Though it brought in some income, it wasn't enough to cover all their needs, especially as his mother's health continued to decline. Each day, he'd scroll through social media, seeing his former classmates living the dream life with high-paying jobs, luxury lifestyles, and travels. John felt defeated. He knew his education deserved better, yet here he was, barely scraping by. One evening, he received even worse news. His mother's condition had worsened, and the treatment would be costly. John was in despair. He had no way of covering the expenses. John began the long walk home, burdened by exhaustion and worry. Lost in his thoughts, he muttered to himself, wondering how he could escape this endless struggle. Just then, a sleek car pulled up beside him. To his surprise, it was Mike, a childhood friend he hadn't seen in years. Mike looked prosperous, dressed in designer clothes with an air of confidence. Over lunch, John confided in Mike, sharing the weight of his responsibilities and his endless search for a job. Listening sympathetically, Mike nodded and offered to help cover his mother's hospital bill. John was both relieved and curious. How had Mike managed to get so wealthy? Mike explained his unusual line of work. He was an escort for wealthy older women, or sugar mommies. Initially, John was taken aback. But as he thought about his family's struggles, he began to reconsider. Realizing this could be his way out, he asked Mike to introduce him to the right contacts. Not long after, John found himself at an upscale hotel, about to meet his first sugar mommy. Nervous, he took a deep breath and went inside. The experience was surreal, but he soon realized how easy the money could be. The woman was generous, and John left that evening with more cash than he'd earned in months of selling clothes. Driven by his family's needs, he continued, meeting more wealthy women who paid him handsomely. For a time, his life transformed. With newfound income, he paid his mother's medical bills, even helping his siblings with school fees. The sense of financial freedom was intoxicating. However, as the weeks went by, John's newfound lifestyle began to take its toll. The demands of his clients left him physically drained, and he found it increasingly difficult to meet their expectations. Each encounter sapped his energy, and no amount of rest seemed to help. And the body couldn't take it anymore. The flag stopped rising. He even watched adult content to try to jumpstart it, but it didn't work. Because he couldn't perform, the money stopped coming in. He had gotten so used to the life of being rich that he couldn't go back to being poor. He searched online for a traditional remedy to boost his performance. He found one he trusted, ordered the ingredients, prepared it, and drank it. Afterward, he went to see one of his sugar mommies. At first, everything seemed fine, but he only lasted 15 seconds. The sugar mommy got frustrated with him and sent him away. He had built a home for his mother, and that day she had come to visit him. Knocking on the door, she received no answer. She pushed it open and, to her shock, saw her son with an obvious problem. It turns out the traditional medicine needed 30 minutes before it would start to work. Subscribe for part 2.